So yesterday we have seen how you can add multiple machines into your infrastructure, right? And how you can have Chef manage them, right? Like I told you, when you work with a real-time environment, mostly you would be working with the roles and environments. Basically, it is not a good idea to add the machines directly, create the run list directly for individual machines. Rather, you would split your entire machine into different classes, into different roles and environments, and then you would apply the rules based on the roles and environments. So what I am going to do today is I'll just show you some professional cookbook. I mean, in our case we have been searching for the resources and we were writing down things, but actually in most of the cases you don't need to write these cookbooks and recipes of your own. What you can do is there is a place called Chef Supermarket. It's an online URL, supermarket.chef.io. You can go into this link. From here you can search for cookbook. These are all different professional cookbook that you can search for. You will get a list of them and you can simply download this cookbook and use them. You can download this cookbook into your workstation, into your cookbooks folder. Then you can start using them, right? You don't really need to write them from the scratch. And basically they will have the documentation how to use it, or you can just take a look at the recipes. Then you can easily understand what is being done, right? So let's say you want a cookbook for Apache. Search for Apache 2 from supermarket. You can actually see there is one cookbook called Apache 2. Go to it. Just on the right side you have the download button. Here just click on download cookbook. The cookbook archive will get downloaded to your machine, or you can right click and copy the link address and then download the cookbook into your workstation. That is also something you can do. So over here you can see the documentation of cookbook. Here itself you can see what are the different recipes that you have and how you would use this particular cookbook. For example, let's say you are creating a role called web server, right? You are creating a role called web server and you are going to create the run list for the role. And these are the two recipes within this cookbook that you want to enable mainly, right? You can have any number of recipes. Basically, this is the main recipe. As you can see, you did not mention the name of the recipe. In that case, what it's going to be the default. As I told you, if you mention the default recipe inside a run list, you can simply mention the cookbook name. It will automatically take the default recipe. So there is basically what this could mean is inside your recipes folder, there is a file called default.rb. That is the recipe that you are including in this run list. And also you are including one more recipe in the same folder recipes. You would see a file called modssl.rb. That is going to be another recipe which you want to include into the run list. So including these two recipes, you're creating the run list and attaching the run list to this role, to the role web server, and your machine, whichever machine part of this particular role. You know how to add a machine to the role. How you do that? Knife node edit command you can use to uh, add the machine into a given role. So if you add any machine to the role web server, then those machine will run this run list. It include two recipes. One is default, the other is mod ssl. And of course, you can these are role specific attribute that you can set within the role. Fine. So this is how you would use it. Basically, you have a number of machine where you want to set up Apache, you want to install and configure Apache, and this recipe what it does is it will enable this ssl module into Apache. That's what this that we will come into. I just wanted to give you an overview. Let's come down. You can see a number of attributes within this. So first what I would do is I will go ahead and actually I already have, I will download this cookbook. Click on download cookbook. It will be downloaded to your laptop. I already have done that. And this is the one, Apache 2. So this is the cookbook which I have downloaded from here. The same one I downloaded from here, extracted it, and this is the extracted folder. I have the recipe folder here. Go into the recipe folder, you can see the default.rb, right? It is inside this default.rb. I am opening this file. You can actually see the different resources. One package resource for installing Apache package on the client node, and there are some other resources. This is the directory resource. Basically, it would create a folder in the client node, and this is another link resource. Basically, it would create some soft link or delete some soft link. In this case, the action is delete. So like that, you are writing down a number of resources which would basically used for setting up the Apache on the client node. So there is a default recipe, and if you include this default recipe in your run list, what will happen? That's exactly what you have seen. This is how you can include your default recipe in the run list. Then automatically the node will run each and every resources whatever you mentioned within this default.rb. So I would just walk you through these these different uh, resources that you have, right? This is the default recipe. It contains a lot of resource. One is package resource. Obviously, you know what this package resource would do. It would install Apache 2 on the client node, right? So over here, I am mentioning the package name. What is the package name? It is Node Apache package. So package name is supposed to be Apache 2. That's what we did, right? When we wrote our package resource, we wrote the package name is equal to Apache 2. But in this case, you are not mentioning Apache 2 here. Instead, you are mentioning a attribute. This is one attribute that you already have defined inside your attributes folder. So go back to your cookbook. This is your cookbook, and over here there is a recipe folder here, and also there is a attributes folder over here. Open it. You would see a number of files where you can see a list of attributes defined. Apache package is an attribute that you had defined in one of these file. I think most probably it's going to be default.rb only. That is the main file, a main attribute file. Open this file, you can see different attribute that you had defined in within the cookbook, right? I told you you can define a number of attributes within the cookbook, right? This is how you define the attributes. The attribute name, then the value is the attribute name, then the value. So there would be something called package. So within attribute folder also you have option, basically based on what platform that you run on the client node, you can decide what is the package name. So this is a case statement. As you can see, this is a case statement which will identify the platform of the node. If it is a Ubuntu machine, if it is a Red Hat machine, if it is a Amazon Linux, Fedora Linux, CentOS Linux. So what is the package name? Chef can identify by looking at this variable. Basically what this variable contains is nothing but the operating system of your client node. So I'm putting a case statement on this particular case statement. You had learned that in the shell scripting, right? Case, then put an attribute. If this attribute is equal to Red Hat, Fedora, or Amazon, then the package name is going to be httpd24. Else, no. If it is Red Hat, Fedora, or Amazon, then you are putting one more if condition. If it is Amazon, package is going to be httpd24. Otherwise, that means if it is Red Hat or Fedora, the package is going to be httpd. So like this, you can put the if condition or case statements here. So when if it is Red Hat, so in our case it is Ubuntu, right? Our node web 001 machine, it is running Ubuntu. So this will not apply for our node. What condition would apply? Come down. When SUSE, this is also will not apply. When Debian, this is what going to be applied for our node. Basically, Ubuntu is nothing but a Debian based operating system. So the platform family for Ubuntu is nothing but Debian. So these are the settings which are going to be applied for your Ubuntu server. The package name package is equal to Apache 2. Perfect. So this is the attribute which would be taken for the Apache package over here when you put that inside your recipe, right? This is your recipe. There you mention the package name is equal to node of Apache package. Apache package is an attribute that you already defined. For Ubuntu operating system, the Apache package is going to be Apache 2. So automatically this line is equal to, automatically this attribute would be replaced with Apache 2. Basically you are telling your resource that install the package Apache 2. Default release, you can mention, right? You can, which particular release of Apache you want to install, the version of Apache that you want to install within Apache 2, what is the exact version that you want to install, you can mention here. So here you are putting some unless statement. This is nothing but a Ruby code, but you don't really need to worry about it. What this Ruby code means is uh, install this particular release if this is already defined. Got it? So this is another attribute. Apache default release is something that you can set here, where in the attributes folder. So go to your attributes folder, search for default release. In our case, we have set it to nil. We haven't set anything for default release. So what would happen in our case? It won't take this line at all. Basically here you are mentioning take this unless it is nil. In our case, it is nil. So this line would not be considered. You got it right? Default release equal to, you are setting the attribute here. It is Apache default release. But if it is nil, don't take that value. That's what it means. So this is a statement in Ruby which will compare this particular attribute with nil. It is taking this attribute is nil. If it is nil, then this value will not be, this line would not be considered at all. So then it is a single line, but nothing but package name is equal to Apache 2. And this is an attribute that you already have defined. For Ubuntu, it is Apache 2. And then you are defining a template here. What is directory template means? You don't know what is directory template? Search in Google. Directory, not template, sorry, directory resource. Directory resource in Chef. Then you will be taken to the right documentation. There you can see basically directory resource is used to manage a directory, creating directory, deleting directory, or right, changing the permission of the directory. For all those things, you can use this uh, directory resource. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So in this case, as you can see, it is not a single resource that you are defining. It is actually multiple directory resources that you are defining using a for loop. The for loop start here, it end here. So what it means is you are giving the list to the for loop: sites available, sites enabled, mods available, mods enabled, conf available, conf enabled. For each of this folder, do basically dir is the iterative variable. Dir will contain nothing but these directories in each iteration. So dir will be equal to sites available in the first iteration, dir will be equal to sites enabled in the second iteration. So like that, for each of these values, the loop will repeat. So what you had written in the loop, it is nothing but a resource. This is your resource. It start with a directory and end here. Start with a do, end here. So what you are going to do here, you are mentioning the Apache the directory here. The Apache directory is nothing but etc Apache 2. It's a different attribute that you already have defined in the attributes folder. So what you are doing here is node Apache directory is nothing your etc Apache 2 folder. Inside that folder, this directory is a iterative variable that you are passing here. Do permission you are setting to 755, ownership you are setting to root, group you are setting to whatever group attribute that you had already defined. So you got what we are doing, right? So what this entire thing will do, for each of this folder, this directory resource would execute. What it would do, it would set the right permission and ownership for all these folders. That's what this particular thing will do. Using a for loop, you are basically setting right permission for all these folders. Got it? So then what you are going to do is you are deleting the default file. When you install Apache, by default it will contain some 00 default.conf, default.conf, default. There can be some file with name default. So basically using this particular, the for loop start here, the for loop end here. What I'm going to do, if there is any link or if there is any file, I want to delete them. If there are any file inside your sites enabled folder or sites available folder, right? Sites enabled folder or sites enabled folder, if you find any of these file, delete those file. That's what you want to do. It can be a shortcut or link, or it can be a file. Whatever it is, you want to delete it. So again, you started a for loop, and site, you put site as the iterative variable. So site is equal to default in the first iteration, site equal to default.conf in the second iteration. So like this, it will repeat. So first thing, typically in the sites enabled, what you see would be shortcuts. So you are deleting the shortcuts. What is the shortcut? Which is nothing but the site. So like I said, site is nothing but the iterative variable. So a site would contain each of these values in each iteration. So first it will contain default, and you are deleting that link. Over here, you are deleting that file. So it will repeat for all this file, and if any of these files are found or any shortcuts are found in sites enabled or sites available folder, this particular code will take care of deleting them. Basically, I mean, it is pretty straightforward. If you know shell scripting or if you know any programming language, it is pretty easy to understand. Chef uses a very simple Ruby coding, right? So then you are creating the Apache log directory, right? This is nothing but something that you define inside your attributes. You look at the log directory in the attributes folder. This is your attributes default.rb file. Over here, you would mention the log directory somewhere, right? For Debian, where is the log directory? You would have already mentioned it somewhere, right? Log directory var log Apache 2. So you are referring to this log directory. What you are going to do, you are basically uh, making the permission as 755 for the log directory. That's what you're doing. Recursively means not only the folder, the entire folder hierarchy will get the 755 permission. That's what you do. And this is another Perl is needed for, basically you want to install Perl, and for that you are writing this package space, the package name. Basically that would install the given package. In our case, Perl, you want to install Perl. This is another attribute that you defined. Again, you can take a look at here. Perl, somewhere you can see here, right? Perl package is equal to Perl. So basically, this is what you are going to install. So you are writing down another resource for installing Perl. What is that? Package space Perl. So this is nothing but it is already defined in your attributes folder. It points to Perl. Perl is the value for this attribute. Okay. So if it is Fedora, you can also put some if condition here like this. If the platform is Fedora, that means if the operating system is Fedora, then this is the package that you want to install additionally. So like this, you can, then this is another code. These are some commands which you are deleting. I don't know why they are deleting it. The A to ENs, basically, probably, yeah, good idea. You know this command, A to EN site, A to EN mod, basically for enabling a module or enabling a website. This is the command that you can use: A to EN mod, A to DIS mod, A to EN site, A to DIS site. Basically, these are the command that you can run in Apache, run in your Linux terminal to add a website or delete a website, add a module, delete a module. These are the different commands. So basically, what is your intention when you want to use Chef? You don't want anybody working on the machine manually. You don't want anybody running this command to enable a module. That's not something that you want. Yes, right? You don't want anybody working on your Apache machines manually. You want your Chef to manage the machine. So basically, what you are doing is you are removing all these binaries so that people will not be able to run these commands. That's what you are doing here. It start here and it end here. So no, it end here. What you are doing, whether it is, you are basically deleting all these binaries using a for loop. Mod script would point to each of these binaries. So basically, what you are going, just deleting them. Oh, I think you are not just deleting them. First, you are deleting it and then you are creating it again from a already existing template. I will talk about it. Okay, basically, you are not deleting it. You are deleting it first, then this is basically, it will regenerate this script actually, right? Which I will come into. So yeah, template we haven't discussed yet. We are yet to discuss. Basically, what you are doing using template is you are regenerating the same file that you have deleted earlier. Here you deleted all these scripts, whatever that you see in this list. You deleted all of them. Then immediately you are starting another template resource. Basically, what template does is, from this particular file which is inside your Chef server, it is going to be inside your cookbook itself. It will regenerate the file again from this template. So I will talk about template in a bit. So just for what you need to understand now is, uh, this particular block would actually delete the default binaries and then regenerate these binaries using some template which is in there in the Chef, basically, right? That's what we are doing. So like this, you can have different resources within this recipe. So go back to our documentation. You can see what are the different configuration that you can put. Whatever configuration that you want to put, you prefer to put them as attributes always. Don't mention the package name or the Perl package or the Apache directory, log directory, any kind of settings. Don't specify them inside your recipe. Specify always inside the attributes. It's the best idea, right? Let's say later you want to upgrade your Apache to Apache new version, Apache 2.4. You want to change the Apache release version, you want to change to 2.4 from 2.2. Then all you need to do is come here, come to your cookbook, make change to the Apache version to 2.4. That's all you have to do. It's all about changing a single attribute. Give me 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, I'll be right back. So like this you can mention different attributes, which is always a good idea, right? Maybe think about this situation. You have a number of machine in your infrastructure, and there are a number of machines which is running Apache. You want to add a new website to all the machines, right? You want to add a new website to all the machines. There are 100 Apache machines. To all 100 machines you want to add a new website. Think about this. There is an attribute called Apache site name or website name, which is nothing but a list that you define. You can put the website name one by one, separated by comma, basil.com, comma, right? Uh, blog.basil.com, news.basil.com, right? Then devops.com, right? DevOps tutorials.com. So like that, a number of websites that you want to be added in all these machines. And think about this, there is some template here inside your chef server. What this chef server does is it has a template which is used for generating the virtual host configuration in Apache. You know what is mean by virtual host configuration in Apache? Every website is a virtual host. So for each website, you need to generate a virtual host file. So what this template does is it will read the list of website using this attribute. From this attribute, it would read the list of files. And for individual website that you mentioned here, it would create individual configurations files in Apache. Then all these files would be copied to sites enabled folder on the client node. Think about this. So at any point of time, whenever you want to add a new website or want to delete a existing website from your all Apache machines, all you have to do is come here, change this attribute. Better, right? More straightforward. Or let's say you want to upgrade Apache. All your Apache machines are currently running Apache version 2.2. Then you decided that you want to upgrade all your machine to version 2.4. There's an attribute called Apache version, which points to 2.2 right now. And your recipes in your chef server, you have recipes and other things. Inside the recipe resources, you mentioned the Apache version is equal to whatever mentioned that the attributes points to. Now let's say I want to upgrade Apache in all the machine. All I need to do is just change this version in the attribute, change this attribute from 2.2 to 2.4. Then automatically the recipe will point to 2.4 right now. It is actually pointing to whatever attribute name that you mentioned here. Then automatically each and every machine, when they run the chef client command next time, they will connect. And when they try to execute the recipe, they will find that the resource has changed. Earlier the version was 2.2, this time it was 2.4. Then it will run that particular resource. Basically the Apache will get upgraded on each and every machine. So basically most of the time whenever you want to make this any change in your infrastructure, it would be in 80% cases it is just a attribute change that you want to do in chef. So that is the reason attributes are very important. You always prefer to use attributes whenever you can, so that the changing are easy. So these are the different attribute that you can have. CGI bin directory, these are different cache directory, which is the folder which Apache would use for caching, where exactly the PID file, right? When you start Apache, the process ID is going to be saved inside a file in your Linux machine, where that file is going to be located. PID file is an attribute. Lib directory, what is the library directory for Apache? Sites enabled folder, what by default, what is the sites enabled folder? It points to the sites enabled folder. So like that, there are different attributes that you are defining. These are used for different purposes, right? Which port Apache would listen on. By default it is 80. You want to change it, you simply want to change this attribute. You want to change the timeout value. You want to change the administrator contact of Apache. You want to turn on keep alive settings. You want to turn off keep alive settings. You want to, make the number of keep alive requests that you can have. All these things are defined as attributes. So whenever you want to, you just need to change this attribute. That's all. It will automatically be affected on the entire ship server, on your entire nodes. And these are basically module specific attributes. Apache has different modules. You can have different attributes for each modules. You can see if you go into your attributes folder, it is not only default.rb. You can see the other files also, mod ssl.rb, mod php.rb. Basically, if you want to set any php settings in Apache, you can use this particular file. Or you want to make some SSL settings, this is the file where you can define the attributes. So like that, you can have, let's take a look at the PHP attributes. It's not mandatory that you need to create separate ones. Of course, you can define everything inside default.rb. That's fine. But if you want to basically if you put everything into default.rb, it could be little bit confusing. So if you want, you can split your attributes into different files. You can define attributes in any file. The file should end with .rb, of course. You can put your attributes anywhere. You can, even if you want to, you can create a new file that end with .rb, and there also you can put your attributes. So this is, I opened this particular file, this particular attribute file. Basically that is the file where they had written, whoever wrote this cookbook, they have written any attributes related to PHP that they had put inside this particular file. What is the install method? Package. Install it as a package. What is the module name? It's PHP5. SO file name. Basically, when you include a module into Apache, basically this is a type of file which is nothing but the extension, Apache extensions. This file, if you include into Apache, then you are enabling the module in Apache. So this is the exact library that you are including into your Apache libraries. So what is the exact file? So, like this, if it is Ubuntu, then the package is PHP7. Otherwise, it is PHP5. By default, it is PHP5. So like this, you can have different attributes. These are PHP specific attributes, I would say. Right? So like that, if you want, you can create separate files and define your attributes in separate files as you wish. Okay, so that's pretty much about the attributes folder, and yeah, the recipes folder that we already discussed. And you can see, apart from default.rb, there are many other recipes also. Typically, these are nothing but, if you want to enable a particular module in Apache, you can simply enable this, add this into your run list. Let's say you want Auth basic to be enabled in Apache, then all you need to do is include this recipe to your run list. So this is how you can enable module in Apache using Chef. You cannot run a2en mod command. You don't want to. Rather, what you can simply do is, whichever module that you want to enable, there are separate recipes for that. Simply include that recipe into the run list of the role or of the node. Fine. So you need to include the separate recipe. This one you want to include if you want to enable the module what's dbm. So like that, there are different modules, rewrite, proxy, right? There are all the modules that you have there in Apache. You can find the proxy module, you can see here, proxy http, that you can see somewhere over here, right? Rewrite, you can see here, sed, you can see here. So like that, SSL module, you can see here. So like that, there are different recipes. So basically, if you open this recipe, probably all it has is, let's open this recipe. Basically, it just enable a module. That's all it does, right? That would be the case if you open any of these recipes. That would be the case. You simply enable the given module, right? That's it. Okay, so that's pretty much about attributes and the recipes. Okay, so let's talk about templates. And you know what is files folder? Basically, it is nothing but the list of file which you want to copy to the client node is what you would keep in the files folder. Of course, the recipes that you already know, templates. So what is a template? Maybe what I will do is I will show you an example. Chef templates. Okay, so let me find out the right example of CRT. Okay, okay, you know this sudo-s file, right? Just log into your web001 machine. When you run the vi sudo command, it is the sudo-s file that you are going to edit. What is the sudo-s file? Basically, it is the file where you put the sudo configurations. If you remember, let me log into my one of the Linux machine. I will log into the web001 machine itself. Here, this is my web001 machine. Just log into the machine and execute the command vi sudo. When you run this command, actually, you know which is the actual file location that get opened. It is /etc. So these two commands are same, vi sudo and vi space etc sudo s. These are same commands actually, but I am using vi sudo because I do not want to make any manual mistakes inside this file. If I make some mistake inside this file using vi editor, it is going to be a problem. It can, it can even block me. So that is the reason I always use the command vi sudo whenever I want to edit this file. This is the configuration file, the sudo configuration file. Basically what you are doing here, you are mentioning the root user has all sudo permission, admin group has full sudo permission, sudo group has full sudo permission. So like that you want to customize your sudo permissions. So your intention is on a set of commands you want to give a set of people and a set of group permissions. So basically what you want to do is you want to generate the sudo-s files using a template in Chef. So, what is a template? A template is a type of file which is used for generating the actual files. So, basically, you are creating a template, something like this, for vi sudo-s file. Let me open my sudo-s file. This is how my file will look like. So, I would create a template, something like this. I simply copy paste all these lines. Instead of root, I mention a attribute that I define in Chef. Instead of this admin, I specify a group attribute which I defined in Chef. So basically, these values will automatically populate from some attribute that I had defined. And these attributes are used for generating the files. So when the file gets generated, this attribute would get the actual values like admin, root. These actual values will be replaced on the template to generate the actual file. So let's say you have 10 uses. To those 10 uses, you want to give sudo permission, and you have 3 or 4 group. To those group, you want to give sudo permissions. That is what you want to do. In that case, what you can do is you can define attributes. You can define different attributes in Chef. One is the list of groups. The other is list of pseudo uses and list of pseudo groups. You define the two attributes. Maybe you can define it as a list. You can add number of machines, number of files. Sorry, number of uses or number of groups you can mention in a single attribute. Whoever need pseudo permission. So let's take a look. I'm going to log into my Chef server, Chef workstation, and I'm going to create a template, something like this. Let me log in as the Chef user. Go to the Chef repo folder. Go to the cookbook folder. Go to the Nginx cookbook. Of course, the cookbook name I put is Nginx, even though I have the recipes look like it's a Apache cookbook. Yeah, but doesn't really matter. You can decide what recipe you want to write. Doesn't matter what the cookbook name is. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm going to create a template. So first thing I want to do, I'm going to create a recipe. So I will tell you what this recipe means. Go into the recipe folder. I already have 2 recipes, config prod and default.rb. Go ahead and open the config prod recipe. If you remember, this is the recipe that is executing on your web 001 machine. So I'm going to edit this file. I'm going to add one more resource. Maybe remove this thing. I don't want this entire thing. I mean, just this is yesterday's resource. I am going to replace that with something else. Cookbook file. So instead of WordPress, I am simply copying the index.html file. That's it. Instead of WordPress, I want to copy the index.html file. Honor, let it be, yeah. Okay, fine. So yeah, so my template. This is what I am going to do. I'm going to create this file in the web001 machine /etc sudoers, and this file would be generated from this template in the Chef server. I will show you how the template will look like later. This is the template file that exists inside Chef server. Where does this file exist? Inside the templates folder, right? Templates are located inside templates folder in your cookbook, which I will show you. We will create this file later. So from this file, from this template file, this actual file would be generated and it would be copied to the web001 machine. That is what my intention is. Permission, I want it to be 440. Owner should be root, group should be root, whatever. Okay. Here I am defining 2 variables here. Pseudo-base group is equal to some attribute. Pseudo-base usage is equal to another set of attribute. This is nothing but some attribute which I am going to define inside my attributes folder, of course. So this attribute contains the list of group who needs sudo permission. This attribute contains the list of users who need sudo permission. And these are the attributes which I need to define inside my attributes, or I can simply put here also. I can put the hard code, the usernames and group names here only, but that is not the recommended way. I told you, as much as possible use attributes. So basically I am going to define an attribute for groups and other attribute for groups uses, and right, and then that would be used by this particular recipe, and those list of group would be assigned to this variable, and list of users would be assigned to this particular variable. So why you are defining variables here in the resource? Why you define variables? Actually, variables is nothing but these variables are going to be used to generate this file. That's what it indicates. So basically inside your template file, you are going to use these attributes. To get the list of groups, you use this attribute. To get the list of uses, you use this attribute. Not, I should not call it attribute, just the variables. This is one variable that contains a list of uses. This is the file variable that contains the list of groups. These two variables would be used inside this template in order to generate the actual pseudo.s file. So that's it. That's what my resource is. I'm going to save this. Now I need to define these attributes inside my attributes folder, right? Of course, I need to define these two attributes inside my attributes folder. One thing I want to do, then I need to create this template file. So what I said is I need to do two things. First thing, I need to define these two attributes inside my attributes folder, which I will do. Next thing I need to do is create this template file. Again, that is also something I will do. So first I will go ahead and define these attributes inside my attributes folder. So let me save this recipe. Go into your attributes folder. If you don't have an attributes folder, by default there won't be any attributes folder. Create one folder and create a file default.rb, and inside your default.rb, define these two variables. This is the groups and this is the usage. And user, I want the usage to be Basil and Karthik. The group, I want it to be, right, whatever, DevOps, developers, admin. Yeah, these are the group which I want pseudo permissions, and these are the uses I need to have pseudo permission. So first I will create these groups and uses in my web001 machine. Good idea, right? Sysadmin, then admin I already have, DevOps. So inside my web001 machine, I'm actually creating all these groups. Then the usage, Basil and Karthik. So assume I already have these groups and the usage inside my web001 machine, or the node that I want to manage. One second. Okay, so I'm going to save these attributes inside my attributes folder. So next thing what I want to do is go to the templates folder, and here I am going to create a file. What was that file? pseudo.erb, and this is how the file will look like. I will show you how this works. So whatever you write down like this, it would be automatically be copied in the file. Basically, this is a template. This is not the actual file. This is just a template using which the actual file will be generated. So when this actual file is going to be generated, this line will be as it is. Whatever you put like this, over here it will change. This is a attribute. So this is an attribute that you are defining, basically not FTQN, fully qualified domain name. This is some attribute that you already have inside your attributes folder, which would be replaced here. Fine. In my case, there is nothing like that, but yeah, I think this is something Chef will automatically find out. No need to worry about it. So these lines would be copied as they are into the file which Chef would generate. Okay, let's come here. This is a template. What do? You are taking this variable pseudo-as usage. What is this variable? What is this variable pseudo-as usage? This is nothing but a variable that you define inside your recipe, inside your resource, template resource, that points to this attribute, which is nothing but the list of uses, basically Basil and Karthik. So this variable contains Basil and Karthik. So what you do here, basically for this variable, you are actually starting a for loop. User is the iterative variable. Then you are creating this line. User would be replaced with the actual user. Then what is this? Yeah, this is nothing. If you add this entry, it would be put here. If the passwordless is enabled, then this line would be added. I think nothing would happen by this. So the important part is the user. The user will get added in each iteration. So whatever this variable contains, Basil, Karthik, you can list down the uses. For each usage, these lines would be created. Basically, the line start with Basil, then it would be all is equal to, in the bracket, all, then at the end another all. So this is the exact line would be created in the first iteration. Then for the second user, which is Karthik, it will repeat again. One more line will get added for Karthik, and the same thing will happen for the group also, like this. Pseudo-wise group, for this variable, each values in this variable, you are repeating, you are adding this new line. So that's all is what I wanted to do. I'm going to save this. I'm going to upload the cookbook. Into the chef server. Now I am going to run the chef client command from the node. So yeah, this is the run list, and as you can see, the pseudo-as file is created. Let's take a look on the pseudo-as file. As you can see, Basil, all, Karthik, all, sysadmin. This was a separate line that was manually added in the file already, as you can see here. So it is unchanged, and these four lines got added one by one using this particular code. Got it? So to be sure, just run the command sudo ls or something. Yeah, it's working. Basically, you did not make any errors in the pseudo-as file. So this is how you can use a template. So think about your wp config.php. What you can do to create a wp config.php template? Take your wp config.php file, go to the WordPress folder in your chef. Inside default WordPress, you have wp config sample.php file. Maybe copy this into a template file, cp wp config sample.php into where you want to copy this. You want to copy into your templates folder, templates, then maybe wp config dot erb, right? So go to that folder, templates. So open the file wp config.erb, leave it everything as it is. Instead of this database name, what I'm going to put? I'm going to put some attribute name. How do you put attributes in templates? Like this. Percentage db name, right? db name is a variable that you are going to pass from your recipe. Here you put the username, or maybe put db user as the variable. Over here you put db password as the variable. Over here you put db host as the variable. So like this you can put different variables, and these are the variable which you want to pass using what? Using your resource. So go ahead and write your resource inside your recipe. Go ahead and create your template. What is the recipe? Config prod. You want to create a new template. So where you want this file to be copied, you want it to be copied into var www html wp config.php, right? So run this command, write this template. You want this file to be copied to var www html wp config.php. This is the file that need to be present in your web 001 machine, and the file would be created from which source? From wp config.erb file. The owner, let it be mod owner group, let it be. The variable, what is the variable that you want to pass? Variables that you want to pass are db name is equal to, either you can specify the actual db name, but of course this is not the recommended method. What you would do, you define something like this: node name. So something like this, you define an attribute, then you add this attribute into your attributes folder. So in this particular case, I'm simply putting the database name directly, wpdb. Then what else? Then I want to put db user is equal to username, wp user, whatever user you want to put for your database. Always put these things are attributes. It's not the recommended way to hard code the actual values in the recipes. Always create them as attributes. That's the best idea. First, I'm going to put something like DevOps 1 2 3 4 5. Whatever you can put. Comma, it's corrected, yeah. DB host. You can put, let's say, localhost. Okay, that's it. So these variables would be passed to the template. That's it, right? DB name, DB user, DB password, DB host. So then run this particular, upload this cookbook now. Looks good. Run the command chef client now in the web service server machine. Now I am running chef client command. It would copy the wp-config.php file, replacing the actual values. I got some error. Undefined method wpdb for chef resource template. What? wpdb. Such a comma wpdb. Hash variable that would my how do you put this? All variables are sent to templates are referenced. Xman. Okay. This is correct, right? Put a comma, db user, comma, db password, db host. Variables. Should I put? I think I put a single quotes. Yeah, I missed single quotes here. Sorry. Right? I should put the single quotes. That's what I had missed. So now run the chef client command. I got another error. Sudoers it's created. What is that? Config pro.rb wpdb. Again I got the same. Oh no, that's a different error. wp config action create. Undefined local variable or method db name. db name is not defined. Config.prod set version compile resources config.php create db name equal to db. Okay, database username 923 MySQL the db name is correct, right? What's wrong? I couldn't get it. Template. So it is not able to take the DB name, that is the error says, but we defined it correctly. Should I put colon DB name? But I don't think. Let me try this. Okay, I think I missed something. Okay, now it's working. So, right? No, it still did not get copied. For some reason, the values are not being taken. I don't know. Is correct only. So the file got copied, but I think it did not get replaced correctly. wp config.php. They didn't get the actual names. Mm, I don't know. I will check this and tell you. We missed something. So I scroll. When I remove this colon, I mean, it should be like this only, but it is giving me some error. It is showing invalid variables. Yeah, I will take a look at that. But you got it right. This is how you make the modifications. You use template to generate set of config file. So in case of Apache virtual host, you have different website. For each website you want to create a virtual host in Apache. So in such purposes you can use these templates for generating whatever configuration that you are looking for. So that's pretty much about the template which I wanted to discuss. And what I want you to do using Chef is the same project which you set up in the cloud. What all things did you do in the cloud? You have two machines which is running WordPress, two machines that are running the Java application, then one master database and one slave database. So these many machines you have in your infrastructure. What I want you to do is create a chef server, and you need to add multiple roles here. One role you call it web server role. You know what to do on the web server role. Other is called WordPress role, or maybe you can put PHP server also instead of WordPress. Make it more generic. Call it the PHP application or something like that. Then you create a role called Java application. Then you create another role called app server, another role called database service. Okay. What I want you to do is the web server role will contain the recipes such as setup Apache, setup the website. Setup Apache recipe would contain what all things? Install Apache, start Apache. That's it. Setup website would contain copying the website configuration file into sites enabled folder of your Apache machines. What all things your PHP server role would contain? I mean, the web server is actually a role to which you want to add this run list. What would be the run list for the PHP application? First one, setup PHP and Apache module for PHP. Then you want to install something else also, the PHP MySQL. Then another one, download WordPress or setup WordPress. You need to download WordPress, extract to www.html folder, then also copy the wp-config.php file. Those things will be contained in the PHP server run list. So like that, I wanted to create separate run list for individual machines, individual roles, then add your machines into the respective role. So your both WordPress machine need to be added to this role as well as this role, PHP as well as web server role. This machine also need to be added to the same roles. How about your Java machines? It need to be added to this Java application role. Basically, Java application deals with deploying your WAR file or right deploying your WAR file into Java application into Tomcat. This one deal with installing and setting up Tomcat. So like that, create individual roles and create run list for them. Add your respective machine to the respective roles. Right? I don't even want you to log into each of these machines. Instead, what I want you to do is when you create this machine inside AWS, how you will make sure that your chef workstation can automatically log into each and every machine? Is there any way you can make sure that once these machines are created on in AWS, how you will make sure that your chef's workstation have automatic access to this machine? Any idea? Of course, you want to automate everything. You don't want to do any kind of manual work. Basically, what you can do is on your chef workstation, generate a key pair. You know how to do that. A private public key pair. This public key import into your AWS account. Then whenever you launch a new machine, always use this key to launch the machine so that your workstation has automatically access to each and every machine that you are going to create. Okay. So what I want you to do is just create all 6 machines, Then run the bootstrap command from the workstation on all 6 machines. Basically, the machine will get added to the Chef server. Add all the machine into the respective roles. Maybe you can add 6 machines, or you can add 60 machines also, right? You want a 10 machine running WordPress and 50 machine running Tomcat, or 100 machine running database. Doesn't really matter how many machine that you want to create. You already define the roles inside Chef server. Whichever machine that you create, you just add the machine into the respective roles. That's what you do. Then automatically the machines will download their run list and start running it. So how do you run it? You need to run the chef client command. Chef client command from the workstation you want to run on all the machine which are bootstrapped into the workstation. How you will run the chef client command? Do you need to log into all individual machine to run the chef client command? You don't need to. You can run the chef client command from the workstation through SSH. There is a command through SSH you can run. So from my workstation I can run this SSH Ubuntu at the rate the web 001 machine IP. Let's say this is the web 001 machine. So from the workstation I want to connect to the web 001 machine. Then I want to execute some command. For example, let's say install Apache, apt-get, or remove Apache. So basically what I'm trying to do is through SSH, I am running this command on the client node. It says permission denied. Of course, I need to put sudo in the front. It still says permission denied. What is that? My workstation already have access, right? To the web 001 machine? Maybe not. That's why. Yeah, I don't have access. How come? Yeah, forget it. Okay, this is the way you can run a command on a remote machine through SSH. So as long as your workstation has access to the web 001 machine, sorry, I used the wrong IP. Yeah. So this way you can run a command on a remote machine. SSH username at the rate IP address. Then in single quotes you put whatever command that you want to execute. Run this command. This command would be executed on the remote machine. No TTY present and no as plus prognosis. Okay, run this command again. Come on. Simply type the command ls. Okay, it's working. Let me run the command chef client. Yeah, so this way, right? I should use sudo, of course. Not TTY present and then I don't know why this error is coming. I think I did something wrong in my sudoverse file. Or the Ubuntu is not a sudo user anymore. Let me add the user Ubuntu to the group admin. Is that the problem? No. Let me sudo. Just making sure. I'm adding an entry for Ubuntu. All equal to all. No password. All. Okay. Let me try this. I think I just messed up with the sudoers file. Something wrong I did. All equal to no password. already did that. Ubuntu all is equal to null password. Okay, I think something to do with this file only. Let's try this. All equal to no password, or just making sure if you file switched as Ubuntu, then run the sudo command. It is asking for password. This is the problem. It should not ask for password. I am removing all these lines. Okay. Now let me become Ubuntu sudo ls. Okay, this time it should work. So nothing. Actually I messed up with my sudo file. Something wrong. Yeah. So this way you can run the sh command sudo chef client on the remote machine. You don't really have to log into each and every machine. You can remotely run the sh client command, chef client command through ssh like this from the workstation. Run this command on all your node. Maybe using a for loop you can automate that also. Using a for loop, just execute this sh command on all the nodes. That is also fine. Okay, so that's pretty much. So start with the project. Try to complete it by this weekend, right? I hope you have a good idea on how to write these recipes, resources, all these things by now, right? If you need to, I request you to watch the video again and again. Just make sure that you are very good with chef, and I want you to complete this project, complete this assignment using chef. Whatever infrastructure that you have set up the same infrastructure using chef. Try to complete it by this weekend, and from Monday we will start with Nagios. You will get some relax in the next week. It would not be very tough next week. The week after next, your next project would start. So yeah.
So do we have class tomorrow on the weekends?
No, and there is no class tomorrow and day after. It's off. So next class is going to be on Monday. Same time.
And how many weeks of training? Training we are in pending still.
I think 2.5.
Okay, 3 weeks
My
approximately.
plan is approximately 3 weeks. My plan is to complete training by second week of Feb. Is when we will finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any resumes or anything?
Yeah, I have resume. I have a sample resume that I will send. You can start preparing your resume because we are almost there, right? And these are the important topics, and I will send out an email to all of you attaching the sample resume. So start with your resume preparation and start uploading your profiles. As we learn more tools, you can add up the profile, make change into your profile.
Yeah, Basil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that PPT, like whatever yesterday you were showing, like that for that Chef and other servers, like that PPT also can you attach?
I already uploaded.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Basil, this is Ashwin.
Yes, Ishant, go ahead.
Basil, yesterday when I was following your video and doing the one, I just had I connected my workstation and the Chef server. When I was connecting the server to the node, I was having a small error, Basil.
What is the error?
It shows that your private key could not be loaded from /etc/chef/client.pem. Check your configuration file and ensure that your private key is readable. But whereas we have done the private key through SSH keygen, right?
No. The error is about the admin.pem and DevOps validator.pem that you needed to copy from the chef server to the workstation.
Yeah, but I have copied it from Chef Station to the workstation. That's how I connected the workstation and Chef server, right?
How did you copy? Okay, you
Uh,
connected it, but you got error. You said you got error when you tried to connect.
I got error while I'm trying to connect the Chef workstation with a node that is Web 001.
Okay. But you
You
ran
got
the
my
chef.
point, Basil?
Yeah. So you ran the chef client list command successfully.
Yeah. I have run it
Um,
successfully.
okay. Then when you connect with the node, when you run the bootstrap command, you got the error.
Bootstrap command, the knife 001 that's is there no? Like a
Okay.
knife, yeah, knife bootstrap
I got
Ubuntu X hyphen Ubuntu.
the reason, actually, the reason is, but it should not. That is actually strange. That key file which said it is missing is nothing but the key file of the chef server which workstation will copy to the node, and it
Okay.
is using that key. Node will connect with the chef server, but it looks like the workstation did not copy the file correctly. Um, can you send me a screenshot or something? I will try to find it out.
Yeah, I had a screenshot just now. I can send you. This one, right? The error one, right?
Yeah, the error is what I want.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I'll
this
just
thing is
send.
sure, right? You ran the chef client list
Y-
command
Yeah.
successfully.
Yeah,
Then while
that
running
I
Bootstrap, you
that I
got the
have
error.
done it. Yeah,
Okay.
I had a small error during that time, but I rectified it. I just like a small one. I just rectified and I have connected the Chef server and the workstation.
Mm-hmm.
Then while I'm doing the bootstrap, I just had this problem.
Record it. So what we can generally do is schedule this chef client command to be running maybe every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, right? All you are not in your infrastructure, you schedule some schedule job, or maybe your workstation. In the workstation itself, you will create a script which would actually connect to each and every machine through SSH and run the chef client command on all the machines. And this script you will run, let's say, every 5 minutes or maybe every 30 minutes. What it means is every 30 minutes, chef client command would be executed on each and every node in your infrastructure. The machine will check into the chef server, take a look if any change in the run list. If there is a change, it will update itself with the latest run list. This is how companies does. Basically, they want to make sure that, I mean, all the machines are following chef server. Sometimes you upgrade Apache, sometimes you install a different version of Tomcat, sometimes you make more file, or sometimes you want to copy a number of files into a number of machines. All you need to do is just make change in the chef server, then make sure that you are running the chef client command very frequently on all the nodes, so that within 5 minutes or within 30 minutes, all the machines will check into the Chef server, download their latest run list and run it. So any change that you make in Chef server will be updated in all machine within 5 minutes, because they will continuously run this Chef client command like every 5 minutes or something.